The car behind me came all the way from Manchester because of one very well-known fault code, P0101, occasion traction light, SCBS dashboard sign on the SCBS sign on the dashboard, limp mode sometimes, check engine light. So they came all the way from Manchester. They booked a hotel while the car is being worked on, and we have already disassembled it. And let me switch the camera and tell you a few bits or details about the car what we already noticed. But before that, let me show you our newest idea, what we came up with, or better said, what Dan came up with. So basically this is the map of the UK. We marked ourselves, put a pin where we are, Linkfield, Surrey, and we put a pin for everybody who visits us, even who visited us. So if you visited us already before and you want a pin for yourself on the map, leave a comment down below or reach out to me on Messenger or text me on my phone number and we will do it so. But as you can see, we already put a few, and the car which is in the video from Manchester, what I can say, usual travel time to us is, I would say, 3 hours, 3-4 hours, 2-3-4 hours, somewhat like that. Some people bring their cars and stay overnight, some bring them down and go back by public transport, and some get the car transported to us because it has oil pressure problems. That's the most typical when they transport the car to us. But now back to the car. So now about the car. They have been experiencing the P0101 for 18 months now, they told us. Usually the P0101 is caused by either the worn camshaft, which in our case you can see it is not worn, lucky for them, it's a good thing, or because of the carbon buildup, which is present, although it has been done, and on the walls there are, I don't know how recently it was done, but I would say minimal. However, if I bring the borescope and we have a look at the valves, you can see that actually the lap of the valves are quite covered in carbon, and that can be the cause of it. So now Dan is using the camera, sticking it down to the valve, and in a second I'll show you how it looks like. So as you can see, quite thick carbon on the valve stem and also on the lap of the valve. We're going to get that cleaned. Also, I'll include a clip what Dan just sent to the owner of the assessment, what he found out, but basically about the EGR cooler that is blocked.
So I started the investigation, and it turned out the camshaft is not worn. However, the injector cylinder 3 is blowing out, and it can cause you oil pressure problem in the future. So both camshaft has to come out and clean the top surface, and also the bottom of the engine. The oil sump has to come off and inspect the oil strainer to make sure it's not blocked. I removed all the intake manifold and EGR to inspect for carbon buildup, and I can confirm they did clean the intake manifold. It looks fairly clean. However, the EGR cooler is completely just blocked. There's barely any air can go through. Also, this is the injector. You can see the difference, and this is the one which causing problem, and the reason is because the washer here is worn and lets the combustion gases out, and that's causing in the future oil pressure related faults. I checked the exhaust pressure sensor and the pipe as well, and the pressure sensor is giving false reading, and probably is because this sensor is faulty. The pipe itself is quite clean. As you can see, if I use the air gun, the air is coming through easily, no problem, but the sensor has to be replaced. Mazda came out with an upgraded version of this, and we do have stock these sensors. And the carbon buildup here, they cleaned, but not all the way to the valves. And I can show you with the camera. If I stick it down to the ports, you can see it's quite severe, the carbon buildup on the valves. So these ones needs to be cleaned with a walnut machine.
And also another issue which we found quite in time is the injector number 3, the washer was blowing out. You see that sludge around the injector hole. So now we're going to remove the camshafts and clean the cylinder head, and in the meanwhile check the tappets, because the tappets, if they are soft, they can cause the P0101 as well. And if we are here and we've done the live data test, we confirm that the exhaust pressure sensor is giving back lower values as it should. We're going to get the pipe cleaned and going to get the sensor replaced, and the coolant, because the coolant was discolored, not the proper color, it looked weird, so we're going to get that replaced. I've checked the values of the vacuum pump, they are fine. So the R thing of the solution to get rid of the P0101, first the camshaft, if it's worn, get replaced. Not the case on this one. Get the carbon cleaning done, which we will do on this one. Then reset all the adaptations what you can do. So the MAF sensor, which is located here, reset the adaptations, reset the adaptations for the EGR valve, reset the adaptations for the intake shutter valve, get the software updated. And if even after that it comes back, it would need further investigation. And what else it can cause, we notice sometimes the vacuum solenoids for the turbo which are sitting on the gearbox. So there are 3 of them, 1, 2, them 2 are identical, and there is another, the third, which has the white connector or plug. They can go bad and cause air related issues. What you can see, guys, is Dan doing is he's setting the TDC, first piston top dead center, because we are going to disconnect the timing chain to remove the camshafts, get everything cleaned. But now, once he's done setting the TDC, let me leave the car and show it from underneath how the strainer looks like. So let's have a look at the strainer. It is not clogged, so it was caught in time. So what we are going to do, first we're going to clean the top and then leave the oil pan off so everything can fall down if anything will or does. Then we're going to clean the surface of the engine block and the oil pan, put it back, seal it, leave it for overnight. So here then is finishing the cylinder head cleaning. We are still waiting for the parts, so the camshaft, the journals and rocker arms to be finished in the ultrasonic bath. Once they are done, they are clean, we're going to assemble the top, remove the silicone sealant from the bottom of the engine surface, clean it, and then reseal the oil pan. And the rest we do tomorrow, such as the carbon cleaning and assembling the car back together. So the parts like the camshafts, the tappets, the rocker arms, oil shower are installed back. So the exhaust camshaft, the next step is the valve cover and other bits like injectors, the common rail, the fuel lines, and the rest of the stuff, like the rest of the parts of the valve cover assembly, in order for us to be able to get done the carbon cleaning, so nothing could get into the cylinder head. So once that is done, we're going to go and carry on with the carbon cleaning. So Dan has finished with the carbon cleaning. Let's have a look at the ports. I can already see the valve, which is a good sign. It looks nice and clean, bare metal clean. Now let's have a look at the valve itself. I would say meticulously clean, very good job. So yeah, this is how clean we get them with the walnut blasting. Now what he's going to do, he's going to fit back the rest of the parts, such as the intake manifold, the EGR valve, the EGR cooler bypass, the cooler and intake, air box, and all the rest of the parts. We're going to start the car up. I'm going to take it for a short test drive because we need to give it back today. Once I'm done with the test drive, I'm going to do the adaptations, which I'll show you from inside the cabin, and the software update. And basically the owner is going to do the main test because they are from Manchester, and if the fault code hopefully doesn't come back on the way home, we can say it was successful and all sorted. Again, if in the future it comes back, we will take care of. The next thing what we would suspect after all these repairs is, as I said, mentioned in the previous clips, the vacuum solenoids. Again, it needs to be tested for a little while. That's what the owner is going to do. So let them put back the parts, and I'm going to show you what adaptations we do and also the software update.